What if the penny hiding in an old coffee can, a dusty drawer, or even your pocket change could be worth more than a luxury mansion? It sounds unbelievable, but one tiny Lincoln cent has shocked the collecting world by reaching values in the $1 million range. And the surprising part is that thousands of people have looked right at it without realizing what they had. Most people think every penny is worth exactly 1 cent. They toss them into jars, leave them in cup holders, or spend them without a second thought. But one rare coin changed that belief forever. Today you're about to discover why the famous 1969 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has become one of the most talked about treasures in American coin collecting, and why missing just one tiny detail could cost someone a fortune. Imagine cleaning out your parents' attic. You find an old cigar box filled with pennies collected decades ago. At first glance, they all look the same. Abraham Lincoln is staring back from every coin. But hidden among them could be a penny that collectors dream about finding. That's exactly why stories like this continue to fascinate Americans from coast to coast. Here's where things get interesting. Every genuine 1969 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. That part isn't unusual. Millions were made. The real mystery begins when a very small number left the mint with an incredible production mistake that transformed ordinary pocket change into legendary collectibles. At first, these rare pennies fooled almost everyone. Some people thought they were fake. Others believed someone had altered them after they left the mint. Even experienced collectors argued about whether they could possibly exist. Imagine discovering a coin that experts themselves couldn't immediately agree on. That uncertainty only made the story more exciting. Now take a close look at the date. This is where everything changes. On the rare version, you'll notice what's known as a double die. Instead of clean, single lettering, the numbers in the date and the words Liberty and I in God We Trust appear clearly doubled. Not blurry, not damaged, not worn. The letters actually look like they were stamped twice. That tiny difference happened before the coin was ever struck. During the die-making process, something went wrong, creating a die with doubled images. Every coin produced from that die inherited the same dramatic doubling. It wasn't damage. It wasn't wear. It was born that way. Here's why this matters. Plenty of pennies show scratches, dents, or machine doubling. Those usually add little or no value. But genuine double die coins are completely different. Collectors search for them because they're true minting varieties, not accidents that happened after the coin entered circulation. Now picture someone receiving one of these pennies as change at a grocery store back in the late 1960s. They probably spent it the next day on a soda or a newspaper. That simple decision could have sent a future fortune back into circulation, where it may still be hiding today. That's what keeps treasure hunters searching through penny rolls from banks, estate sales, flea markets, and inherited collections. The dream isn't impossible. Rare coins continue to appear because many people simply don't know what they're looking at. But don't rush to celebrate just because you own a 1969 penny. This is where many people make an expensive mistake. Countless ordinary 1969 pennies are worth only face value or a small premium. The doubled lettering must be strong, clear, and match the known characteristics recognized by professional experts. Another surprise is condition. Two identical rare pennies can have dramatically different values depending on preservation. A coin that escaped decades of heavy circulation with sharp details and original color can command astonishing prices compared with one that's badly worn. Collectors carefully examine every tiny detail. They study the surfaces under magnification, looking for scratches, cleaning marks, corrosion, and discoloration. Even a beautiful rarity can lose significant value if someone tries to polish it. That shiny appearance many people think improves a coin often destroys collector value instead. So if you believe you've found something unusual, resist the temptation to clean it. Leave it exactly as it is. Hold it carefully by the edges and place it in a protective holder. One well-intentioned cleaning could erase thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars in potential value. Here's another twist many beginners never expect. Counterfeits exist. Because famous rare pennies attract enormous attention, dishonest individuals have altered common coins or created convincing fakes hoping to fool buyers. That's why authentication from a respected grading service is so important before assuming you've struck gold. Professional grading doesn't just confirm authenticity. It also assigns a condition grade that helps determine market value. Serious collectors often refuse to spend large amounts without that independent verification. It's one of the biggest reasons certified examples bring stronger prices than raw coins. Now let's build to the moment everyone waits for. How much could one of these remarkable pennies actually be worth? An ordinary circulated 1969 Philadelphia Lincoln cent without any rare variety might only be worth a cent or a little more to collectors. That's not exciting. But everything changes if it's the genuine double die variety in exceptional condition. As demand has grown and collectors compete fiercely for the finest surviving examples, auction prices have climbed into extraordinary territory. The very best authenticated specimens have reached values approaching or even exceeding $1 million under the right market conditions, making this one of the most famous modern-era Lincoln cents ever discovered. Think about that for a second. A coin originally worth 1 cent could become worth more than many homes. That's the kind of transformation that keeps collectors searching year after year, hoping the next handful of pennies will reveal history hiding in plain sight. So before you spend another old Lincoln cent, slow down. Check the date carefully. Look closely at Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the numbers in the date. Use proper lighting and magnification if possible. That extra minute could be the difference between ordinary pocket change and the discovery of a lifetime. Have you ever searched through an old penny jar, inherited a family coin collection, or found an unusual coin that made you stop and look twice? Let everyone know in the comments because some of the most incredible discoveries begin with stories just like yours. And remember, America's most valuable treasures aren't always buried underground or locked inside museum displays. Sometimes they're sitting quietly in forgotten jars, old wallets, and dusty boxes, waiting for someone curious enough to notice the details everyone else ignored. If you enjoy uncovering hidden money secrets like this, subscribe and keep watching, because the next incredible coin we reveal could already be hiding in your own pocket. Stop what you're doing before you spend another penny, because one ordinary-looking 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could be hiding a life-changing secret. Most people would never give it a second glance, yet the right one has collectors willing to pay astonishing amounts of money. And the most surprising part? It might have already passed through your hands without you ever knowing it. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, grabbing a handful of pennies, and discovering that one of them isn't worth a single cent anymore. Instead, it becomes the coin everyone wishes they had found first. That's exactly why you need to stay until the very end, because the tiny details that separate an ordinary 1993 Lincoln penny from an extraordinary one are almost invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. Here's the crazy part. Millions of 1993 Lincoln pennies were struck, so most people assume they're all common. That's the mistake that keeps valuable coins hidden for years. Collectors aren't simply looking for the date. They're searching for rare combinations of condition, striking quality, and unusual minting errors that can transform an everyday penny into a collector's dream. Now, if your coin has no mint mark, don't put it back just yet. A missing mint mark on a 1993 Lincoln penny doesn't automatically make it rare because pennies struck in Philadelphia during that year normally carried no mint mark. But that's only the beginning of the story. The real mystery starts when collectors begin examining every tiny detail under magnification. Think about how coins are made. Massive presses strike thousands of pennies every hour. When everything works perfectly, the result is an ordinary coin worth exactly 1 cent. But machines wear out. Dies crack. Metal shifts. Pressure changes. Tiny mistakes happen. Most errors are small enough that people never notice them, yet collectors spend years hunting for those very imperfections. What if your penny has an off-center strike? What if the lettering appears doubled? What if a die crack runs across Lincoln's portrait? What if the coin somehow escaped quality control with a dramatic mint error? Suddenly, that forgotten penny sitting in a coffee can become something worth investigating. But don't rush to celebrate just yet. Here's where many people make an expensive mistake. They hear stories online claiming every old penny is worth thousands or even millions of dollars. That's simply not true. Value depends on rarity, demand, authenticity, and above all, condition. Condition changes everything. Picture two identical 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies. One spent decades bouncing around pockets, scratching against keys and loose change. The other was carefully preserved from the day it was struck, never entering circulation. Even though they started life the same way, the second coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands of times more than the first. Collectors use grading scales to measure a coin's condition. Every tiny mark, scratch, and sign of wear matters. A nearly perfect coin with blazing original luster will always attract more attention than one that's heavily worn. That's why serious collectors often send valuable coins to professional grading services before selling them. Now here's something even more fascinating. Some of the highest prices paid for Lincoln pennies have nothing to do with age. Instead, they're connected to incredible preservation or dramatic mint errors that are almost impossible to duplicate. These coins become legendary because so few exist. Imagine opening your grandfather's old toolbox and finding a roll of untouched 1993 pennies tucked inside a dusty drawer. At first glance, they look completely ordinary. But under proper lighting, one coin shows an unusual doubling in the lettering. Another has a striking error. Another appears nearly flawless after more than 3 decades. Suddenly, what seemed like pocket change becomes the start of an exciting treasure hunt. That's exactly what keeps collectors searching every single day. People search estate sales. They visit flea markets. They check bank rolls. They dig through forgotten jars sitting in kitchen cabinets. Why? Because history has proven that valuable coins don't always appear in expensive collections. Sometimes they show up where nobody expects them. Here's another detail most beginners overlook. Never clean an old coin. It sounds helpful, but cleaning usually destroys collector value. Even gentle polishing can leave microscopic scratches that experts immediately recognize. A coin that might have impressed serious buyers can lose much of its appeal in just a few careless minutes. Instead, handle coins carefully by the edges and store them in protective holders until you know exactly what you have. Now let's talk about the rumor that probably brought you here. You've probably heard people claiming a 1993 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is worth $1 million. That headline certainly grabs attention. But here's the reality. While exceptional Lincoln pennies and extraordinary mint error coins have sold for remarkable prices, a standard 1993 Philadelphia penny is not automatically worth anywhere near $1 million. Claims of million-dollar value usually refer to extremely rare error coins, unique specimens, or sensational stories rather than ordinary circulation pieces. That's why verification is so important before believing any online claim. Still, don't let that discourage you. The exciting part isn't that every penny is valuable. It's that a tiny percentage truly are, and those rare examples continue to surprise collectors year after year. Every discovery starts with someone willing to take a closer look instead of assuming every coin is ordinary. So what should you inspect first? Look closely at Lincoln's portrait for unusual doubling. Examine the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Check the date for odd shapes or doubling. Inspect the reverse for strange cracks, missing details, or off-center striking. Look for brilliant original color if the coin appears uncirculated. Every small clue could point towards something much more interesting. And if you believe you've found something unusual, compare it with trusted references and consider having it authenticated by a respected grading service. Expert verification can make all the difference between a fascinating curiosity and a genuinely valuable collectible. Here's the best part of coin collecting. Every penny tells a story. Most stories are ordinary, but every once in a while, one coin escapes the mint with a secret that nobody notices for years. Then one curious person takes a closer look, and suddenly history, luck, and knowledge come together in an unforgettable discovery. So before you spend another 1993 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, give it a careful inspection. The next incredible find won't belong to the biggest collector or the richest investor. It will belong to the person who paid attention when everyone else looked away. Now I'm curious. Have you ever found an unusual penny in your pocket change? Or do you already have a jar full of old coins waiting to be checked? Let me know, because your story might inspire someone else to uncover a hidden treasure of their own. And if you enjoy discovering forgotten coins, surprising mint errors, and the incredible stories behind America's pocket change, make sure you subscribe and join us for more hidden money secrets. Your next amazing discovery could be sitting in your home right now, waiting for you to notice it before anyone else does. Stop scrolling for 1 second, because the penny hiding in your pocket right now could be worth far more than your car. Most people spend it without a second thought, and that tiny mistake could cost them a life-changing payday. Today we're uncovering one of the most talked about modern Lincoln cents, a 2007 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that collectors never stop searching for. The real story is even more surprising than you might imagine. Think about this for a moment. How many pennies have passed through your hands this year? Hundreds? Maybe thousands? Most of them were tossed into jars, cup holders, couch cushions, or handed over as change at the grocery store. But every now and then, an ordinary-looking coin turns into an extraordinary discovery. That's exactly why experienced collectors inspect every single penny before spending it. The 2007 Lincoln penny without a mint mark doesn't look special at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait appears on the front, while the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly on the back. Millions of these coins entered circulation, making them seem completely ordinary. That's exactly what makes the mystery so fascinating. If millions were produced, why are collectors willing to pay incredible amounts for certain examples? Here's where everything changes. Not every valuable coin is rare because of a low mintage. Sometimes the real treasure is hiding in tiny details that most people never notice. Those details can transform a 1-cent coin into something collectors desperately want. A small error, an unusual strike, a dramatic die variety, or an exceptionally preserved condition can make all the difference. Imagine finding a penny in your spare change that looks perfectly normal. You almost spend it on a vending machine. Then you decide to take one closer look under a magnifying glass. Suddenly you notice something unusual. That simple decision could completely change your understanding of pocket change forever. Professional coin hunters know that patience beats luck. They search through coin rolls from banks, estate sales, flea markets, garage sales, and old family collections because history has proven that remarkable discoveries still happen. Incredible coins continue to appear in places nobody expects. Now here's a question that surprises many people. What does no mint mark actually mean? Many assume it automatically makes a coin rare. That's not true. For Lincoln pennies made in 2007, the absence of a mint mark usually means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins struck in Denver carry a small D beneath the date, while Philadelphia pieces normally have no mint mark at all. So if that's normal, why are collectors still talking about these pennies? Because condition changes everything. Most 2007 pennies spent years bouncing through cash registers, vending machines, parking meters, and pockets. They collected scratches, dents, stains, and wear. A coin that remains nearly perfect after all these years becomes dramatically harder to find. Collectors use professional grading services to evaluate condition. Tiny differences invisible to the average person can separate a common penny from one worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Strong original luster, sharp details, and virtually flawless surfaces attract serious attention during auctions. But that's only part of the story. Every year, minting equipment wears down. Dies develop cracks, chips, and imperfections. Sometimes the striking process creates doubled letters, unusual textures, off-center strikes, or other production mistakes. These mint errors weren't supposed to leave the factory, but some escaped into circulation anyway. Those accidental mistakes are exactly what many collectors dream of finding. Imagine discovering a dramatic error coin mixed into a handful of ordinary change. Suddenly you're holding something thousands of other collectors wish they owned. That's why experienced hobbyists never rush when sorting pennies. Here's another surprising fact. The internet is filled with headlines claiming an ordinary 2007 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is worth $1 million. Those headlines attract millions of views because everyone hopes they're sitting on hidden treasure. But reality is more complicated. An ordinary circulated 2007 Philadelphia Lincoln cent is generally worth only face value. Even beautiful uncirculated examples usually sell for modest premiums. The enormous prices people hear about almost always involve something very different. Maybe it's an extraordinary mint error. Maybe it's an extremely rare variety. Maybe it's a nearly flawless coin certified at the absolute highest grade. Or maybe the headline exaggerated the story entirely. That's why knowledge is far more valuable than excitement alone. Instead of believing every sensational claim online, smart collectors examine the actual characteristics of the coin. They look for doubling on the lettering, unusual die breaks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, wrong planchets, dramatic misalignments, or other genuine mint errors recognized by experts. Here's something most beginners overlook. Lighting makes a huge difference. A penny that appears ordinary under dim kitchen lights may reveal remarkable details under bright white light and a simple magnifying loupe. Tiny features become much easier to identify, helping collectors separate common coins from potentially valuable discoveries. Another mistake people make is cleaning old coins. Never polish, scrub, or shine a collectible coin. Cleaning often removes the original surface collector's value most. Even a gentle cleaning can significantly reduce a coin's appeal and market value. That dusty, natural appearance may actually be protecting its worth. Now imagine this scenario. You're visiting your grandparents. They bring out an old coffee can filled with pennies collected over decades. Most people would ignore it. You decide to spend 15 minutes searching through the coins. First, nothing seems unusual. Then you notice a brilliant red 2007 Lincoln penny with almost no wear. A little later, another coin catches your eye because the lettering looks doubled. Then you discover an off-center strike. Suddenly that forgotten coffee can doesn't look so ordinary anymore. Stories like these fuel the excitement of coin collecting across America. Real discoveries continue happening because billions of coins remain scattered throughout homes, piggy banks, and forgotten collections. Let's build the suspense one final time. Could a 2007 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny actually be worth $1 million? For an ordinary example, no. Claims that a standard 2007 Philadelphia Lincoln cent is worth $1 million are not supported by the known collector market. However, an exceptionally rare mint error combined with extraordinary condition could command dramatically higher prices than a normal penny, and unique coins have surprised the collecting world before. That's why every coin deserves a careful inspection before it's dismissed. Take a close look at the date. Examine the lettering. Check Lincoln's portrait. Inspect the edges. Look at the reverse design. Compare your coin with trusted reference images. If something appears unusual, don't guess. Have the coin evaluated by knowledgeable experts before selling or spending it. Remember, the difference between 1 cent and a valuable collectible often comes down to details smaller than the tip of a pencil. So before you empty that jar of pennies into a coin counting machine, spend a few minutes looking through every single one. The next amazing discovery could already be sitting in your home, waiting for someone curious enough to notice it. Now I'm curious. Have you ever found an unusual penny in your pocket change? Or do you have a jar of old coins you've never searched? Let everyone know, because your story might inspire someone else to uncover a hidden treasure of their own. And if you enjoy discovering the incredible secrets hiding inside everyday pocket change, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. There are countless coins still circulating across America with fascinating stories, surprising errors, and values that continue to shock collectors. Your next life-changing discovery might be only 1 penny away. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a penny and accidentally spending a coin that could be worth a fortune. It sounds impossible, but one ordinary-looking 2011 Lincoln penny has sparked incredible excitement among collectors. And if you don't know what to look for, you could let a life-changing treasure slip away without ever realizing it. Most people think only ancient coins or century-old pennies are valuable. That's exactly why so many rare modern coins continue hiding in plain sight. Today we're uncovering the mystery behind the 2011 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, why some collectors search for it every single day, and what tiny details can separate a 1-cent coin from one worth hundreds, thousands, or even rumors of $1 million. Here's the crazy part. Millions of Americans have handled these pennies. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and cash registers for years. Almost everyone ignored them because they looked completely ordinary. But collectors know something the average person doesn't. Sometimes the smallest difference creates the biggest payday. The first thing you need to understand is the no mint mark. Many people think a missing mint mark automatically means a coin is rare. That's not true. On 2011 Lincoln pennies, no mint mark simply means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Millions and millions were made. So why are people still hunting them? Because the real value isn't in the missing mint mark alone. It's in the possibility that your penny carries something much more exciting. An unusual error, an exceptional strike, or an incredibly high-grade condition that survives circulation almost perfectly. Think about that for a second. 2 pennies made on the same day could end up with completely different values years later. One gets scratched, worn, and forgotten. The other somehow stays nearly flawless. That tiny difference changes everything. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Every year, collectors examine thousands of 2011 pennies under bright lights and powerful magnification. They're searching for doubled letters, die chips, die cracks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and other mint errors that most people would never notice. Imagine dumping a jar of pennies onto your kitchen table. To your eyes, they all look exactly the same. To an experienced collector, one coin might instantly stand out because of a tiny doubling in the lettering or an unusual feature that happened for only a short time during production. Those mistakes weren't supposed to happen. Every error tells a story about a split second inside the mint, when something went slightly wrong. Instead of making the coin worthless, those mistakes often make it far more desirable. Now let's talk about condition, because this surprises almost everyone. A coin doesn't have to be over 100 years old to become valuable. Modern coins in perfect mint state condition can sell for astonishing prices because very few survive without marks. Every trip through a cash register leaves tiny scratches. Every handful of change creates new damage. Finding a 2011 penny that still looks almost exactly like it did when it left the mint is much harder than most people realize. That's why collectors pay such close attention to grading. Professional grading services examine every tiny detail, from the shine of the surfaces to the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait. Even a 1-point difference on the grading scale can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value. Now imagine discovering your old penny isn't just beautiful, it also has a rare mint error. That's when collectors really start paying attention. Some people inherit jars of coins from parents or grandparents and never bother looking through them. Others receive old bankrolls, estate sale collections, or forgotten piggy banks filled with pennies collected over decades. Hidden inside those ordinary containers could be coins that everyone else overlooked. And that's exactly why treasure hunters keep searching. Here's something else many people don't know. Not every valuable coin looks dramatic. Some errors are so small they require magnification. Tiny doubled date, slightly doubled lettering, an unusual die crack, a misplaced die chip. Small details that most people would never notice while buying a cup of coffee. That's why slowing down can literally pay off. Instead of spending every penny without looking, collectors examine each one carefully. Now let's address the biggest question everyone asks. Is there really a 2011 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth $1 million? Stories about million-dollar pennies spread quickly across social media and video platforms because they capture people's imagination. While ordinary 2011 Philadelphia pennies are worth only face value in circulated condition, exceptionally rare error coins or extraordinary examples in elite grades can command impressive prices at auction. However, claims of a standard 2011 no-mint Mark penny being worth a guaranteed $1 million should always be treated with caution. Extraordinary prices require extraordinary rarity, authentication, and strong collector demand. That doesn't make the hunt any less exciting. In fact, the possibility of discovering a remarkable error is exactly what keeps collectors checking pocket change every single day. So what should you inspect first? Look closely at the date. Check the words Liberty and In God We Trust for unusual doubling. Inspect Lincoln's portrait for strange marks caused during striking. Examine both sides for off-center designs, missing details, or unusual metal flow. Look around the rim for anything that seems different from a normal penny. And don't forget the reverse design featuring the Union Shield. Any unusual striking characteristics there deserve a closer look as well. If you notice something unusual, resist the temptation to clean the coin. That may sound harmless, but cleaning can dramatically reduce collector value. Even gentle rubbing leaves tiny scratches that experts immediately recognize. Instead, place the coin safely in a protective holder and compare it with verified examples, or have it evaluated by a reputable coin professional if it appears genuinely unusual. Here's another surprise. Sometimes the coin people ignore today becomes tomorrow's collector favorite. As more modern coins are searched, lost, damaged, or removed from circulation, exceptional survivors often become even harder to find. That's why experienced collectors always say the best time to check your change is before everyone else does. Imagine finding an old coffee can filled with pennies this weekend. Would you really dump them into a coin counting machine without taking one careful look? Probably not anymore, because now you know that one tiny detail could completely change the story. The next penny you pick up might still be worth only 1 cent. Or it might be the beginning of an unforgettable discovery that every collector dreams about. So before you spend another 2011 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, give it a careful inspection. Look for the unexpected, protect anything unusual, and remember that history has a funny way of hiding extraordinary treasures inside the most ordinary objects. If you've ever found a strange penny in your pocket change or inherited a collection you've never searched, let everyone know in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden money secrets hiding in everyday coins, subscribe and join us for the next incredible treasure hunt.